APS is a payment system company. Yeah, we do primarily anything to do with payment technology infrastructure, and then basically just we do payment processing, and then we basically just also do payment settlements and transaction disputes. So primary thing is creating a payment highway for the Indian banks, Indian touch points, consumers, affiliates. Tomorrow there's a talk of payment banks coming up. They'll become our customers. EPS primarily was started to basically help banks to expand their footprints in rural and semi-urban pockets of India where the larger population was there. They didn't have banking or a financial services facility. So EPS, along with the banks, enable these basically banks to get into those pockets. Our footprints today is 60% of our footprints is in only those areas where close to a larger population, 700 million people live. And today they are able to do transactions, get financial services through the banking expansion programs, and of course basically the Prime Minister's Jan Dhan Yojana program, where every individual is issued a RuPay card which will be used in ATM. It's an ATM sponsored by EPS in the state of Maharashtra. We're a very small company. We just started in 2011. We just closed 3 years, effectively in operation for 2 years. And so 10 million revenue in the last fiscal was a good number to boast of. Our expansion is primarily on to the next is processing. I think money lost in transit is money lost. If I take 2 days or 3 days to send money from one end to another, the intermediary makes more money than basically the beneficiary. The banks make more money. So I would put basically that one as a huge loss to the African community. Today, basically the interim banks, most of the banks, maybe in UK, Europe, or even US, they make interim money of the remittances because the remitter is in UK. He goes to a bank, deposits the money, which has to be remitted to Africa. It takes about 4 days, 5 days through SWIFT or any other remittances programs. But if we could basically move that money within seconds, the intermediary doesn't get the float. So which is what I think today we could do, which possibly happens even today in India. So I think this Africa should possibly have a similar, the RuPay, the China Union Pay or Africa Pay across the continent, and thereby a single currency can basically be delivered with for any country at no less possible times in seconds, within a day. I learned a lot of things which helped me to basically know what should not be done in a business. It's not what you learn from business, you will always learn what not to do in a business. And the most important milestones in my personal career was we did the first outsourcing, ATM outsourcing in the country. Before that, every bank used to, like what happens today in Africa, every bank used to buy ATMs, set up their own infrastructure, operate it for their own customers, and thinking it is basically cost saving. Thereby the economics of scale was never there. So every bank used to basically invest huge money on the ATM infrastructure. We did the first ATM outsourcing infrastructure for a bank, and we cut down the cost almost to basically just 60-70%. The bank was very happy. They could free their own capital out of basically in the infrastructure of creating infrastructure assets. So they used to pay per month, per day, per ATM. And from per day per ATM, we moved on to per transaction per ATM, which is never in the world, nowhere else other than India. Banks pay per a transaction. Today, basically, India is a larger country with 200,000 ATMs, because I first started my life when the country had only 11 ATMs. So now it is 200,000, close to 200,000 machines. Of course, it will keep growing till 500,000, and possibly we'll all be basically there, being part of this whole growing story. Avishka, Goodwill, and specifically Goodwill, Vim has been a great advice to us, great advisor to us in terms of basically understanding the economics of operations, primarily on making a balance sheet which is viable. So, in terms of cost cutting in our own operations, I think he has been a great help, and also understanding the basically various nuances of the international operations of the same similar market on impact as well as basically social investments. I could possibly learn a lot of things from him. See, any entrepreneur primarily has to have two things. One is he should be honest in what he is doing, and he should be passionate about the purpose, the domain, or the business that he wants to be in. And never, couple of advices I could tell you: never fudge the numbers, never violate any rules or regulations of the organization or the country. Local governance is a very important factor. And the last but not the least, take care of your employees. They are the assets. Without them, you can't run any business. I actually want to be an investor more than basically an investee. Possibly in the long run, I want to give myself to the industry where I could advise most of the investees how they should and how they could basically run a good business, and possibly just whatever money I make out of this, in case basically I would basically invest in those companies whom I believe can make a social impact. I think it's just we have scratched the tip of the iceberg, and there's still a long way to go. Even a country like India, where you still have sizable population, millions, hundreds of millions of population still below the poverty line. It's a huge, basically humongous task for us to basically reach there, and that will be done only with people who have just made it the bar, and who could go back to them and give them back what they basically earned from.